The Turkish army has released audio of warnings to the Russian plane shot down by Turkey on Tuesday. But the pilot of the Russian fighter says there were no warnings. The pilot was rescued after a special 12-hour operation of Russian and Syrian forces. Moscow has accused Ankara of a planned provocation, but Turkey insists that the jet crossed into its airspace, a claim that Russia denies. Julia Kim reports.
Barely discernible, but the Turkish army says this recording proves that it did warn the Russian jet before it was shot down near the Syrian border. But it directly refutes the account given by the surviving Russian pilot just hours earlier on Wednesday.
На самом деле, никаких предупреждений не было. Ни по радиообмену.
There were no warnings, not radio nor visual. There was no contact whatsoever. That's why we kept our combat course as usual. If they wanted to warn us, they could have shown themselves by heading on a parallel course. But there was nothing. And the rocket hit our tail completely unexpectedly. We didn't even see it in time to take evasive measures.
Both airmen ejected from the plane after it was hit by a Turkish F-16, but one of the pilots was shot dead by Syrian Turkmen as he parachuted to the ground. Captain Muraktin denies crossing into Turkey's airspace, but his version of the incident directly contradicts that of the Turkish government.
An unidentified plane was warned 10 times in 5 minutes before it entered our airspace because it was heading towards our border. But despite the warnings, this aircraft insisted on violating our airspace. And as a result of this, our F-16 intervened and the aircraft was shot down.
Moscow said it would seriously reassess bilateral ties in light of what it calls a planned provocation by Ankara.
Well, amid increased tensions between Turkey and Russia, protesters in Moscow hurled eggs and stones at the Turkish embassy, breaking windows in the compound. Police cleared the area and made some arrests shortly after the protest began. Maxime Belkin reports.
Chanting murderers and hurling eggs. The news that Turkey shot down a Russian jet on Wednesday, killing one pilot, has incensed these Moscow residents. Protesting outside the city's Turkish embassy, people here feel betrayed.
This
is the embassy of murderers, of the people who, instead of being honest and trusted partners, have revealed their evil underside.
Elsewhere in the Russian capital, calls for retaliation against Turkey were widespread.
It looks like we should be getting ready for some hard times. We're responding to it already, and I think that's right.
Now Russia is put into a situation where, if it tolerates that spit in the face, it'll lose its authority and influence. But if it starts to retaliate, everyone will be shouting that Russia is an aggressor, as they always do.
Not everything is clear yet, but I think there should be a retaliation.
Russian President Vladimir Putin has already threatened serious consequences for Turkey, a country he's described as a terrorist accomplice. This despite the numerous trade deals between the two countries. Ankara, for its part, insists it doesn't want any escalation. Diplomatic point scoring aside, it seems the incident will have a serious impact on Turkish tourism. The Russian Association of Travel Agencies says several Russian companies have stopped selling package tours to Turkey after an official warning that Turkey is now considered unsafe for Russian visitors.
I'm the leading state sponsor of terrorism.